Getting lost is one of the primary problems with dementia. Outside the dementia unit, getting lost on the streets, and inside the dementia unit, not being able to find your room. This is a really distressing experience. If the dementia resident is unable to find their room and is relegated to going around and around the seemingly never-ending walking track of the dementia unit, it can take some time before a staff member realises that the resident has lost their way and redirects them to their room. And by that time they can be stressed, upset, in pain and breathless, and it can take some time for them to settle down. But there are ways of being able to help this. Door identification is a really big, important part in this process. It plays a big part in a dementia resident, identifying their door when they're walking around the dementia facility. Now, ways of being able to do this in terms of making the door identifiable, it depends to a certain extent on the unit, but many units, dementia units, are cream walls, cream doors, long, sterile corridors, and it's very difficult for the dementia resident to work out which door is theirs. So, firstly, to make the door identifiable, you need to have their name written in large on the door on a placard, if that's not already there. And beside that, the room number at eye height, not so high that they can't see it, but at eye height. So if the woman is 5 foot bent over on a walker, make sure that when you're putting the sign up, it's at their eye level. Otherwise, what often happens is that the sign is put high at the eye level for a 6 foot man, but not a bent over 5 foot woman. So the person has to stretch their neck up to see the sign. And often they don't stretch up. Often they just carry on walking along all the doors, looking at their eye level, unable to see any names. So if it's at their eye level, then when they walk along, they're much more likely to see it. Now, other ways of making the door identifiable, often in dementia units, they have photograph memory boards encased in glass, often too high up as well, and having photos in that section on favourite photos like the wedding day, photo of the family, photo of a favourite pet, identifiable photos. While good, often the photographs are really small, so the dementia resident is unable to see them unless they've got their prescription glasses on and they can focus on them easily. But really, the name on the door and the number is by far the most important thing. Sometimes some dementia units or relatives put on door slicks, colourful door slicks, so that the resident can identify the door by the colour. They're actually fantastic. When you get a whole row of door slicks, different colours, it's so much better in being able to identify doors than just a whole, raft of cream. So where I was working, the dementia facility introduced those door slicks, and actually the residents they really did find it easier to find their room once they had that colour to identify. It was quite remarkable. And also the unit put up good plaques with the name in big letters and the room number in big letters on the door at a reasonable average height level for most residents. I think about 5'7" or 5'5", they put the height at. Same for the whole unit, but at least a 6 foot man can look down at the sign and see it. And a 5 foot woman can look up a few inches and see it. Actually, it worked extremely well. After that, the stress of the residents trying to find their door, coming to the front desk and asking, where's my door? Where's my room? Where's my room? Such a common complaint. All day, in fact, residents are at the front desk asking where their room is, because, of course, they want to either get to the toilet or lie down to have a rest. And it's a stress on the staff as well, having to answer all day, all throughout the day, to the stream of residents as to where their room number is. But if the residents can find it themselves, it's so much better, because it gives them autonomy, it gives them confidence, you know, it's less stressful. Because often what happens is, without any of this door identification in place, and them being unable to find their room, they're subjected and beholden to staff members telling them where their room is and redirecting them. And often staff aren't available. Often the carers, especially in the morning, will be busy in the, you know, in the rooms of the residents doing the morning cares. And if the charge nurse is on medication rounds or something of that nature, then there's often no one at the front desk. And so the poor resident has to stand there and wait until someone comes in who will hopefully tell them where their room is, often for the umpteenth time, because the resident goes back and forward from the desk. I mean, they all seem to know where the nurse's station is. That's not a problem. They know how to get back to that, because that's in the same area as the lounge and the dining room. So they're familiar with that, but it's going up that big long corridor to find their room, which is complicated. Now, another way of helping with direction orientation for your relative to find their room is practice. Lots of practice, lots of corridor practice, going along the corridor, reading the names, reading all the names out loud, reading all the numbers out loud with the resident. It's really good for their reading skills. It's really good for their cognition. It's really good for them to be able to identify that there are a lot of people in the place. These people are their neighbours. And also, of course, for them to be able to identify their own room. And it's an exercise, a practice. Actually, a lot of the residents enjoy doing this exercise, going along the doors and reading out the names of the people and the numbers. And when they do that, if they're able to read out people's names, they're also able to read out the titles in newspapers and script on the karaoke television, you know, smart TV. So their reading skills actually improve by reading the names on the doors. So it has a lot of benefits. Now, with the practice, just really concentrate and focus with the resident, with your mother, and say, look, Mum, we're going to do some we're going to do some call it room finding practice or direction orientation practice, whatever you want to call it, but room finding is probably a good way of saying it. Mum, we're going to do some room finding practice for your room so that you can remember and orientate, not maybe remember, but orientate to where your room is. She'll be really grateful for that. So when you do it, start at the nurse's station. That's the pivotal point that residents know. Start at the nurse's station. Then from the nurse's station, it will say, for example, the room is room 148, third on the right. So you inform your mother, okay, Mum, we're going to find your room. It's room 148, third on the right after the nurse's station. And, you know, she's happy to do that. So you walk along, and then there's 2 more doors that she can read the name of the person in that and the numbers before room 148. Say 146, and what is it, 144 if it's alternate. And then once she goes through the first one, reads out the name and the number, second door, name and number, third door, her room. Okay, once she can read it and can recognise it and refer to it, then you know that she'll be in a situation to be able to find it, along with the help with staff when she gets lost, to be able to redirect her. So these are really important ways of people being able to reach their room. Okay, so I've written 2 books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. For those that don't know me, that are new on this channel, my name's Pieta Valentine. I'm a former physiotherapist, and I've written these 2 books specially to enable dementia residents to better manage and orientate in a dementia unit. So these books are on Amazon and my website, www.pietavalentine.com. Thank you for your looks and your likes and your interest. Please subscribe, and thank you so much to those of you that are. Thank you very much.